Ladies and gentlemen, we now join the Cage Ape Band Act 2 with these fine, stellar poets, actors, and artists. On my left, Martin Parker, extraordinary poet and multimedia artist, followed by the stellar stylings of Miss Whisper Poet, artist extraordinaire, from jewelry to poetry, from song and story. We are amazed. On my left, Brother Finn Hall, there already, leading the way at the UN. Finn, fine artist, producer, performer, filmmaker, just man about the media world. Brother Ed, a man who I've known of a great power for so many years, has joined me on stage after stage, studio after studio, a fine artist, actor, and a stellar ventriloquist. On my right, from across the sea and the land and the mountains and vast upper reaches of the air, Saraswati Poswal, poet, producer, and just talent extraordinary, a woman of stellar power. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then there's this other guy. So, let us begin. Act 2, The Cage Ape. 3 days after the chimp addressed the UN General Assembly, a group of friends have gathered to help the chimp's cause. Dr. Warren Stevens, who's renowned primatologist who worked with these 3 chimps for more than 3 years, helping them through Carr's speech at the UN. Dr. Stevens did the translation from Amerslan into English.
Signing on.
Sylvia Woods, the hard-charging ingenue, freshly seated at the anchor's desk, but still ambitious enough to still chase a story or two for her premier news program, a woman with all of the authority of a born winner. She's gotten not just close, but entangled in the story. She's fallen for Dr. Stevens. She's not just in love, she's in danger. She's lost her journalistic objectivity.
All right, who's going to comp my parking? And even more important, who gets my bill?
Ooh. Willie Harrison, the sharp uptown lawyer, has been providing legal advice to the rising star Ms. Woods. Willie has negotiated every important contract in Sylvia's meteoric career. Now, she finds herself tangled in this potentially politically charged story. And what about our ingenue? Right about now, she's triangulating the attorneys at the network versus a career catapulting interview with her amour versus the federal implications of dealing with eco-terrorists and trying to solidify a flirtation with Dr. Stevens. Besides, if by working with Dr. Stevens she could land an interview with Carr, that speechifying monkey, who, bar none, was the hottest story on 6 continents. He was, after all, what they are calling the newly minted general of the Chimpanzee Liberation Army. The point, to his ape mind, is not the slow, stultifying death of thousands of apes currently serving out their lives in sterile laboratories and stultifying zoos around the world, but instead, his immediate concern was the small embattled population of whales that has been so unrelentingly hunted to near extinction by whalers, hit by massive cargo vessels, and made deaf by seismic testing with marine explosives. Dr. Stevens has finally sprung after hours of Willie's masterful negotiation with the authorities. Dr. Stevens has been charged with grand theft by his former employer for stealing the chimps. The fact that he had taken them on holiday for years was irrelevant. This was retribution, pure and simple. Harrison took them to his office to prepare Dr. Stevens' defense. They found the entire office completely ransacked. Fleeing New York, they met Sylvia at her co-worker's home in Connecticut. Sylvia persuaded them to return with her to the New York studio to tape a second, more in-depth interview with Dr. Stevens. En route to the studio in Harrison's SUV, they heard this story on the car radio.
Dateline, Washington, D.C. Reports have reacted us from high in the article circle, detailing attacks on the two whaling ships of the newly anxious American state of New Greenland, scene of so much recent unrest. The two ships, a Russian and Iceland whaling vessels, were reported missing with the hands lost. Later reports include descriptions of helicopters of the vicinity of the both vessels shortly before the respective explosions. Clearly, eco-terrorism was suspected. NATO officials were quick to issue the denials and their unvarying commitments to safe passage of the international waters off to the record. And on the deep background, sources placed blame on the radical environmentalists. Canada recently has shown no reluctance of prosecutes and those who seek to interfere with the baby seal harvest. Recent convictions, though still on appeal, are the results of the cases prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Some radical Greens have received sentences greater than 50 years each. The Japanese Prime Minister suggested had a Russian vessel not been in the immediate area to rescue personnel from the factory ship, these would have been the significant loss of the human life. Tess issued the statement that the little more than a thinly veiled threat, the next attempt by the criminal imperialist forces to interfere with any Soviet citizen will suffer punishment. These violent eco-extremists, these radical environmentalists certainly are merely pawns in the hands of the oil companies and the CIA. These criminals will not interfere with our right to the heritage of the whaling. Whaling comes with the Japanese to islands whaling. Brothers, we will not be reduced to mere pawns of the pockets. They took more dramatic turn, and they're pouring blood on the files phase. They're hacking the global GPS system. Now they want to believe all this was done with the support. Yet all the while doing the bloody bidding of the CIA.
The car lurched to a stop. Grim faces all around. After they've heard the story of the Arctic bombing, Dr. Stevens explained that they had Canadian friends who promised to help if anything went badly after the UN speech. Grand new vistas of complexity were trailing them into the erratic car chase. Any media statements now must be strategic and carefully framed to say not just the minimum, but veer away, way into the opaque, now that international forces have been mobilized. Dr. Stevens hadn't expected the chimps to be capable of this kind of amazing escape, even with their new Canadian activist friends.
I've got to talk to Tar. Who's heard from the Canadians? Who has the number for Philippe? They went through my wallet and pocketed the jail, and all I've got back is my driver's license and credit cards, and my phone was wiped. I guess that was courtesy of Homeland Security.
No, that would be ICE. Homeland Security is barred from working in any area where ICE claims sovereignty, thanks to the all-Republican Congress of 2028.
I wonder if they've cleaned up my office. Maybe Ernest at the lab can check. And this is important. Maybe he can check for the backup USB drive. I have to get in touch with the car.
Hello, yes, Mr. Secretary. Really? We have people in with the environmental movement. Brother Sebastian provided the monkeys a bus and a cover. They were able to hike across the border unseen.
One of our black helicopters were overhead the whole time. It looks like they headed back to the New York. Be ready.
Yes, sir, I'm packed. I was waiting for your call.
Philip is keeping us appraised. We have been developing staff and contacts for exactly this contingency. They won't catch us napping.
It's bombing! Oh my God! If the apes are really somehow involved, this will compromise any argument they hope to make. That makes all negotiations far more difficult.
He's begun to realize he's facing an entirely different world than he was in before his arrest. Now, he has felony charges pending and is beginning to look like he's tangled in some kind of global terrorism. Dr. Stevens decided he'd better contact Carr and get the story directly from Carr's own fingers.
Reports have just reached the desk that the notorious monkeys that showed up at the UN and some kind of circus trick, pulled by the now discredited universally. Adjunct professor have escaped, both animal patrol and the FBI agent assigned to return them to the government testing faculty.
My God, they're on the loose. Where could they possibly go? They have no survival skills to speak of. Oh my God, they'll end up shot by some trigger-happy copper.
They'll be swatted and spotted by some fool ICE agent, masked and most definitely dangerous. Well, you really have to hand it to those monkeys. One day they're sitting safely in a comfortable cage, playing figure games with the good doctor. Now it looks like they're international terrorists. Ka-ching.
They're not monkeys, they are apes. Great apes, please.
Miss Woods, kind of early today, huh?
We got a hot story, Red.
Who's your friends?
Who's your friend, anybody I should know?
This is my attorney, Willie Harrison, and this is the infamous Dr. Stevens.
Good day, mate.
See? No tail at all.
Stevens swings his hand behind him.
See? No tail, no horns.
Really as smart as they say on TV?
Well, that's what they tell me. They managed to escape from the FBI and outwitted the border patrol. Not a bad start for a couple of chimps out in a lark.
Here's the elevator. 9, please.
I should get back to my office, get things into some kind of order, see what's missing. Maybe it is only a third-rate burglary, or maybe someone's trying to offer us just a little discouragement.
Well, just kick that horse's head out of the bed. Listen, Willie, if you need any muscle, I do freelance work too.
Well, looks like you have some nice equipment.
Keep in touch, Willie. We may be needing your services sooner rather than later.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Willie. I was beginning to appreciate the point of view of the incarcerated. Literally, I got a taste of the caged ape since I have now lived and broken bread inside a cage. I'd probably still be in there if you hadn't come down with your persuasive ways.
There are very few things in the world that a couple $1,000s won't cure. Just make sure my check is punctual.
Doc, let's go. We've got to get this on tape, get it edited, and get it to the director's desk for the 7 o'clock report.
They stepped from the elevator into Sylvia's director's office. He listened impatiently to the tangle of events and characters that Sylvia described. More trouble. He was thinking way more trouble than this was worth, and it spun around in his head that what he was thinking had boiled down to a talking head visual intercut with what? Footage of the monkey at the UN? There's no story here. He was just nodding.
I'm not going to blindside legal on this. We're talking giving a platform to eco-terrorists? No freaking way!
What the hell is an eco-terrorist?
That's President Vance's term for anyone who hates fossil fuels or wants to slow progress in any way. You don't watch the news much, do you, Dr. Stevens?
My research keeps me busy. And no, I don't watch the news very much. Except lately with the chimps.
The director's unsmiling face said loudly that this situation might require more than both barrels of Sylvia's considerable charm to get this story on the air.
I'm going to try to track down our Canadian friend so I can find out what the hell Carr is up to. Sylvia, can I borrow your phone? I've got to try and reach Ernest back at the lab to see if my backup drive is still taped onto the inside of the top of my filing cabinet. Normally I don't leave the lab without it, but since we're headed for the meet-up with the Secretary General at the UN, it was a bit of a zoo around the lab. Ernest, is that you? Listen, did they clean out my lab? Yeah, they emptied the room. Damn. Listen, did they just move the beige filing cabinet out into the hall like they usually do? Yeah. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. Third drawer down, open it, and run your hand along the bottom of the shelf above it. Yeah, on the bottom of the second drawer. No, listen, that's the best way, the only way to reach it. Okay, got it? Yeah, great. Yeah, perfect. Sylvia, what's your address here in New York?
Why?
Just give me your address, please. I got Ernest on the line.
Okay, it's 2300 Southern Boulevard, Bronx, New York, 10460. So, what did you need my address for? Are you sending me flowers?
I'm having Ernest overnight the memory stick to me there, and a bunch of numbers I need on that stick. My life is on that stick.
He could have just emailed the files. Why mail the stick?
Because I need everything on the stick.
We've got to get this in the can and on the editor's desk in less than 45 minutes.
Listen, are there any other calls? You should use a secure line. I'm sure at our network, they've got us wired 6 ways and on 8 limbs. Use my phone if you're going to make any calls. I always keep a burner handy. I talk with some crazy characters sometimes.
Why, Mr. Director had no idea.
Besides, I live a double life.
The director smiled a crooked smile and winked theatrically.
I'll try and reach Ernest before he leaves and have him just open my file and read me Philippe's number.
Dr. Stevens returns a few minutes, clutching a piece of torn paper. He tries to hand the burner phone back to the director, but the director waves it away.
Oh no, it's yours now. Any phone used is a tainted phone. I have a drawer full of them. Sylvia, would you like one?
Sure, why not? Don't all God's children gotta have a burner phone?
I'll try and reach Sebastian now, I guess. I'll use this burner phone again.
The director shrugs. Sure, might as well. But I would deep six it after that.
Sebastian, this is Dr. Stevens. Is Philippe Moreau on the farm?
He was jailed after the last action. We tried to disrupt the last year's baby seal harvest.
What in hell could they charge him with? Trespassing on an ice floe? Frostbite without a license? Oh, that's kind of cool.
Check this. For cruelty to animals.
What?
He and his fellows were all charged with cruelty to animals for placing the harvest in jeopardy. If one of the hunters was interfered with or jarred mid-stroke, the baby seal could have suffered longer than necessary. Besides, the special magistrate further reasoned the coat might be damaged if repeated blows were required.
How many days did he get in jail? Time served?
No, he got 10 consecutive years for each seal in the pod. 6 seals in that pod, so he got 60 years.
60 years? They're mad! But they count him concurrently, right? So 10 years?
No, he'll be out when he's 92.
That's crazy. Look, we'll talk about that later. I have an attorney friend who might be able to help. Is Michael at home?
No. He was with Philippe. He also received 60 years. Surely you know that they were always inseparable. We?
Have they begun their appeals yet? Is there a chance?
Do you not understand? The government needed an example. Those tariffs must get lifted. Philippe and Michael are their examples.
I just got out of jail myself. I guess I just wasn't thinking.
Your friend Karg explained it all. He explained much of what happened immediately after the UN speech. Of course, they knew nothing of you, but they knew you would reach out to me.
So, you've heard from Carr? That's great. Is Carr there? I'd have hoped that he'd be able to arrange somehow to contact either Philippe or Michael. Once you explained that they were in jail, I assumed.
They sent a telegram. They have a hostage. And they made a friend of one of the animal control officers. The telegram told me to expect a call in a day or two. They were in hiding. They explained that after a shootout with the FBI guards, they'd taken a hostage and they hoped to escape across the border. I told them that Philippe and Michael were not here, but before I could hang up, the girls agreed to help. The last time I saw Marie and Suzanne, they were heading to a rendezvous in a chopper.
So what's this about hostage?
Marie got part of the story from Constance.
Okay, who's Constance? Is she the hostage? How did she get involved?
She was with the FBI, a trainee, I gather. I never got a lot of details. She was convinced of the righteousness of their cause during their stay at the Holiday Inn in Niagara, New York. She had been part of the FBI team that was escorting the chimps and their animal control handlers to a federal holding facility. Constance told them that they had many enemies in the government. Since Marie and Suzanne met them in Niagara Falls, she's been helping them with the explosives they've been collecting and evidently using the last few days.
Explosive? What the hell do they want with explosive? Could this be are they sure of Constance's allegiance? She's an FBI agent, for Christ's sake.
Who is sure of anyone's allegiances anymore? I think this is one family that has already taken its share of lumps in environmental causes. If these apes put my sisters in danger from these escapades, I may just kill them myself.
Sebastian, did you hear the news that 2 whaling vessels have been reported missing and presumed lost off the coast of New Greenland?
Sacre bleu! No. What is this?
Well, some reports mention a copter had been reported in the area. Speculation is buzzing that this copter may have been involved in the destruction of the 2 ships. Could it have been them? Are Marie and Suzanne capable of putting together bombs?
The only one talking bombing when they stayed here a few days was Constance. She kept saying that it was the only way they could be heard. The only way. I claimed to be familiar with it. She claimed to be familiar with explosives.
Ah, agent provocateur.
We now join the 3 apes and the 3 women just north of the Arctic Circle. 2 dark ships lay beneath, silhouetted by the pack ice. The 2 ships have just arrived in the whaling ground. One has already taken its first wheel. Preparations were already underway on the busy deck to carve this once swimming, singing water mountain. Marie guides the copter through the low clouds and has begun hovering, dodging in and out of a cloud bank, hovering nearly motionless a few hundred feet above the butchery that drenched the deck in red. Constance finished arming
the plastic explosive and handed it off to Carr, who was leading out the door, carefully bracing against the freezing night.
I think it's ready to go, Carr. I'll hold steady. Now, let her fly. Suzanne, give him the next one. Here, Carr. Ready? Drop it. Now.
The parka that Carr was wearing was far too short for his forearms. This exposure to the unaccustomed frigid polar air dusted his arms with frost, but was not enough to affect his aim. He carefully tossed that bomb dead center of the whaling ship. After he released it, he ducked quickly back into the copper, pulling the door closed behind him. Chunk! When the explosive fireball enveloped the ship, he screeched and whooped. The flash and roar of the explosion rolled and echoed across the icy landscape, rebounding off the ice and buffeting the copter as the superheated fireball rose into the sky.
Good aim, Carr.
Look at that thing burn. Awesome.
The ship quickly became a giant torch. Fiery blossoms, framed in black, oily smoke, seemed almost surrealistic in the blinding whiteness. The burning ship was soon encircled by a thin ring of sailors, tiny figures on the ice around the ship, shaking angry fists at the still circling copter.
Well, Carr, what do you think? That was our 3rd ship this week. Maybe 1 or 2 more, then we'll cool it out, head west.
Look over there! Another ship is coming! Probably a supply ship! There's not another whaler now within 500 miles of this place! The ship breaks into a dramatic, almost maniacal series of shrieks and screams. Shriek! Shriek! Scream! Scream!
Hello. Yes, Mr. Secretary. What? Okay, where am I headed now?
We have access to their plans. The next step is to free the hostages. The sentences were brutal, That's just the reason why we are assisting in this way. Claiming that you are defending animal rights during a seal harvest by interfering with activists. This is insane.
You mean when they sentenced those environmental activists to 60 years of prison time? Right. I couldn't believe it either. I thought you weren't going to let that happen.
Well, we'll discuss that later. Your next task.
Yeah. We have access to their plans. Their next step is to free some hostage. The sentences were brutal. That's just reason why we are assisting in this way. Claiming that you are defending animal rights during the seal harvest by interfering with activists in the insane.
You mean when they sentenced those environmental scientist activists to 60 years of prison time? Right. I couldn't believe it either. I thought you weren't going to let that happen.
Well, we discuss that later. Your just task is to meet our chopper at the Baron Trump aerodrome. Security there is, well, let's say, lax. Ridiculously lax, and you'll meet one of our all-back stealth choppers, and it will take you to the new Bruwick, and you'll doing some clandestine work for me up there. Password for the project is Casino Trump.
Well, that's an odd one. You come up with such inventive names, and there's always a wink in every one. Tell me, I can never guess.
His casinos all went bust, and you're going to arrange a jailbreak, you know? Busted.
Where will I meet our chopper?
Millennium Memorial's Ballet Theater jetpods, and you're riding in our new secret stealth technology supersonic chopper, the one President Venice was caught talking about the hot mic at the golf tournament last week.
Turns to Marie, signing furiously.
Suzanne, what's he saying?
Thank you, Carr, but we can't even think of it. It's too dangerous. They're being held in Her Majesty's Penitentiary in Newfoundland,
Which right now is under construction. So Carr is convinced that we can get in there amidst the confusion and bust them out. We can drop behind the construction shack, leave the chopper there, and make our getaway. Go ahead, take it, Whisper.
Our two older brothers are in prison for interfering with the yearly baby seal hunt. The government got tough on the environmentalists. They both got 25 years. Carr insists they too must be freed. So where are we headed now?
He says that we raid more zoos along the eastern seaboard. We need to raise an army of apes so we can raid the prison that holds Michael and Philippe. Stay tuned for the next exciting adventure of the Caged Ape Band. We thank you.
Bravo, everybody.
Awesome. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, you've joined us again for Act 3 of the Caged Ape Band. These extraordinary actors, artists, poets, storytellers, I bring you Martin Parker. I bring you the charming, the talented, the resident of the North Sea, Brother Finn, my good and dear
powerful friend, Ed Wujciak. Later, I'll tell you the joke there. The most powerful man you've ever met, I can guarantee it. The lovely and talented whisper poet, and then this other guy. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me do this first. I will remove the non-video. Act 3, The Caged Ape Band. Things have been quite different around our little planet since those 3 crazy chimps and their favorite primatologist drove up from the UN headquarters at 46th Street in New York City. They traveled at the personal invitation of the UN Secretary General. The speech that the alpha chimpanzee Car delivered in sign language was translated first by his trainer into English and then splashed noisily across the civilized human world. More on that later. Soon after the speech, as Dr. Stevens and his monkeys were leaving the UN, Dr. Stevens was arrested. The chimps placed in protective custody by the ever-vigilant FBI, registered trademark. Only moments later, the chimps got radical and had a shootout with the FBI agents holding them. They took young Constance Carler, a freshly fledged agent who only recently joined the FBI. This marked a turning point in their activism on behalf of the whales. Meanwhile, from the roof of the world, reports announced that whaling vessels were under attack, with reports that helicopters were spotted dropping high explosives as recently as this morning. So far, reports listed over 15 whaling factory ships have been sent to the bottom, at least rendered incapable of returning to their murderous business. Curiously, in each case, sufficient time was granted, allowing the crews to evacuate. Could this reflect a shiny new militancy among environmental activist groups? Security forces from Moscow to Mauritania and all 3 Japans, the newly minted American state of New Greenland, were all asking the same question. Every whaling nation is now reportedly on triple top secret high alert. The young primatologist, Dr. Warren Stevens, sits nervously in the office of the rising media star Miss Sylvia Woods. The doctor had just placed a call to some old friends in Canada, friends that over the years have shown rather vibrant tendencies, some might even say a militant commitment to Pangaea activism. Dr. Stevens learned that his old friend Michael Gauguin was recently in prison for interfering with the annual baby seal harvest in the chilly, unforgiving deep north. He and a fellow biologist, his half-brother, were charged with felonious cruelty to animals because they'd intentionally and callously interfered with the normal progress of last year's annual baby seal harvest. What were they thinking? The curtain rises, revealing Dr. Stevens sitting in Dr. Sylvia Wood's office, staring off into space. The still phone pressed to his ear, the fruit of the Canadian call, its ramifications were percolating like freshly boiled coffee through his gray matter. The left hemisphere, midst its furious calculations, was gradually letting the right hemisphere in on the details, and while the analysis had been fully considered, he was interrupted by Sylvia's bursting breathless into the room. Her voice crowded out the calm dial tone, the reassuring dial tone.
Warren.
Nearly oblivious to her arrival, Dr. Stevens mutters,
Chimps took a hostage? Chimps took a hostage?
Doctor!
Well, hell, helping the chimps escape was one thing, but blowing up whaling ships, even Russian ones, that's a whole other rotten basket of bananas.
Doctor, I thought you'd want to hear this. The director of the FBI is about to hold a news conference. We can catch it on the set in the cabinet. There. Slide that lid up.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, This is only the latest in a series of ever more violent, radical environmental terrorism. This time, it has taken ecological extremists to the top of the world. We now have evidence, conclusive proof and everything. So let me put your minds at ease. We will be seeing arrests like nobody's ever seen before. These will be immediate and are, trust me, neatly and nearly imminent. Evidence we have seems iron-crusted, even conductive, and it suggests, and that emphatically so, revealing a new terrorist organization has been acting with extreme ultra-violence on the high seas. And we are hot on this, so hot. Our secret investigations have proved beyond any shadowy doubt. However, I must insist, rumors that these UN anti-whaling monkeys have escaped from the hands of the FBI are totally groundless. Our agents have penetrated this hairily armed cadre, and soon we will have them in our grasp. And rest assured, international commerce will soon be again completely secured and fully restored.
During the speech, the camera, in extreme close-up, clung tightly to the FBI director's rugged jowls. They seemed to search his deep-set eyes beneath those long, glorious, salt and pepper, most fibrous brows that flashed, leapt, and gamboled so dramatically in the luminous wash of the formal podium and the glare of the mic. Sylvia and Dr. Stevens exchanged emotionally charged glances several times. During the news confab, Dr. Stevens had three main responses to the speech. That's a muted response, I'll tell you.
That's an interior voice. If, and that's one tall cliff of an if. If I can stay clear of the law, the chimps will be able to contact me.
And number two.
I suspect this Constance, the hostage, is clearly not converted. She must be exposed. They may be wearing the costume of an endangered species activist, but I suspect foul play, ragged, bespectacled T-shirt, or no.
And number three.
Sylvia.
Well, what do you say, Doc? Let's get over to Studio B and get that news interview, me and you. My director says he's got all kinds of heat from legal. I want to get it in the can and on the air before they try to stop me. There's an Emmy in this show.
What can they do?
When they catch the apes, we'll definitely be on the B-roll, background. They'll probably fly you in for that interview or maybe at least send a stringer for the stinger, but you have no lab, no chimps. Where will you go?
There's always product safety testing. These jobs usually go begging, and research standards are... Who am I kidding? No, I can't. I just can't.
Who did you call? Who could get to you?
Listen, don't be so super suspicious. I still must thank you for all you've done and all your time, and for sending Willie to spring me.
Well, don't kid yourself. She's going to cost you big. You still have to go to trial and fight those charges, bogus or not.
Oh, I can't. I just can't. Not yet. Tell you anything. You saw him, the FBI chief. You, a media giant. You above all should know how the FBI is going to play this thing. They're going to run right across the 50-yard line, run right past goal, collect the $200 and slide across the home plate for a hole-in-one.
Touchdown.
Don't forget, this is an election year. They need to quash at least one vast secret international terrorist conspiracy by election season, or at least shoot down a secret Jewish space laser. It's in the cards, and probably on bumper stickers already being shipped across this great brave land of ours. Even as we speak, I can see boxes even now being loaded.
Waiting by her phone, the field operative of the Secretary General gets the call she's been waiting for.
Yes, Mr. Secretary, I received the package, and I had it sprayed at Sylvia Wood's apartment and at Dr. Stevens' bungalow. Yes, the landlord, Bill, was very cooperative, as you told me he would be. Thank you. I sprayed it all over Stevens' apartment, just as your email suggested. No, I couldn't smell it, as you said.
Did you receive the message about the frequencies that the FBI will be using at the zoo?
Yes, and the jamming equipment was installed in my van yesterday. Yes, we tested it twice, once 2 blocks away and once 4 blocks away. You said that it was more than strong enough to jam their field radios.
You got the directions to the zoo?
Yes, I already programmed the GPS. I'll be there in plenty of time.
Sylvia's resolve has been slowly softening, and she finds herself more interested in Warren than in Dr. Stevens.
Don't do me any favors, Doc. I've been on this for more than chuckles, honey.
I know you care, really care.
Did you speak with the chimps or their helpers, their allies? Listen, Warren, could I get your reaction just to the FBI director's statement that the chimps have not escaped? Just that. It's so obviously a lie.
Well, I'm not sure that publicity is a good thing right now. I'll tell you this, that I'm more than reasonably sure. Oh, damn.
Are you going to meet them somewhere?
Could I come? I can bring a portable rig and shoot it myself. They've got a mobile rig that will nearly fit in my purse. I can shoot you, well, if not in the lab, somewhere more vulnerable.
He blushes. She blushes. And when she's realized she's shown her vulnerability, she leans over and kisses his cheek impulsively.
Oh, Sylvia, hon, I can't. I really don't know where they are. I've been wondering when it would get out that the apes have completely eluded the feds. They've escaped again, I guess.
What, is that what he meant by that cryptic remark about the apes not escaping?
Well, the call I just completed places the apes far from any possible contact for now. I gotta get somewhere secure so that should they need me, I can be reached someplace secure, someplace with no surveillance, you know? And that won't happen in the apartment of the most popular anchor of this media fishbowl. How can you stand it? All these cameras, it would drive me nuts.
Sure. Remember, I can deal with that. It's my job. Like, if there's a lot of journalists mucking about, around me.
Yeah, well, with my chimpanzee brothers in the lab learning from each other, that's home to me.
You know I can help. I'd like to. Well, and hun?
Yes, Sylvia? I think so. I know you can.
He squeezes her hand. She presses her cheek with a quick kiss.
Let me at least walk you out. Can I call you, say, next week, or would you call me after you hear?
Doc Stevens didn't answer as he tramped out the door, sad to lose another friend. It seemed that from time to time he totally forgot she was a reporter.
She's very fetching.
Across town, deep in the windowless confines of the FBI headquarters, the Klieg lights powered down while technicians coiled cables and removed the telltale cards for disposal. The FBI director fled the studio. His tightly clustered security detail surrounded him like a rock star entourage, and as they traveled the underground gray corridors, it was grim faces and nervous looks all around. He walked briskly, and all the while his security detail displayed nervous energy, flicking their eyes from shadow to shadow, from corner to corridor, from door to desk.
The chief's glance was almost always met with lowered, averted eyes. He had a new, no-nonsense air about him. Was it his cologne or something even more sinister? The free-ride elevator security check came back clear, so the entire entourage crowded in.
The agents were softly mumbling into their cuff microphones, each earpiece buzzed with competing, even contradictory instructions.
Chief, we had a word. She said they'd be arriving on the south side of the Susquehanna River, just outside the city. They've got an ETA of 1575 Mark 10. We've also ID'd 2 Canadian nationals, sir, waiting near their probable landing site in a rented school bus, as innocuous as maybe, from which I may add, we've detected with thermal scans and with our AI sniffers, has suspiciously left its engine running.
Do we have IDs on these Canucks yet?
No, not yet, sir. We've learned that they are escaped cons who were serving time in Canadian jails for environmental activities. Names Philippe Moreau and Michael Coury. The one called Coury was related to at least the pilot of the chopper and possibly to the other female on the team.
Well, what are you waiting for? Just jump out and grab them.
Well, sir, the thinking on site by the agent in charge is that they should wait for the rendezvous and collect them all. These escaped Canucks and their friends, probably the radical Greens that have been bombing the commercial whaling vessels.
I goddamn want them secured, damn it, or else I'll know why. Heads are gonna roll if this goes sideways.
We've spoke to the director of the city zoo, and despite our urgent warnings that his chimps inmates were in danger of being kidnapped, yet he stubbornly refuses to remove them beyond public scrutiny. And what's worse, he still plans a public unveiling of his new cage-free facility. He still has cages on site. You can't be too careful. These monkeys can be crafty. He did allow us, however, to install a squad of our people and provided uniforms so our operatives could blend in. Chief, we got complications.
The city zoo's director had been contacted by the news director of Eyewitness News because that very afternoon they had learned from a Chamber of Commerce flyer that the zoo's new primate habitat was opening to the public and the monkeys would be entering for the first time. The zoo hoped the publicity attending the apes' transfer to their new designer dorms would help boost attendance. The mobile TV crew headed to the zoo to record the excitement. The news director had been told they could roll right up to that new habitat. The zoo's director suggested they could even go inside the habitat if they wanted. The director had no plans to take him up on that suggestion. The camera crew were still setting up to record the chimps' entry into this new, brand new, state-of-the-art bio-enclosure. It had been years in development and reflected the latest algorithmic analysis in ape primate habitat theory. It was designed to provide every comfort and stimulation to support and encourage their successful great ape breeding project. The FBI chief in his black limo slid through the state As they alerted, they arrived at HQ's secure underground parking. The suspect chopper had touched down, and to the surprise of the surveillance team, they saw 3 apes, and 2 of the 3 women suspects jumped from the chopper and climbed quickly into the waiting bus, each carrying what seemed to be a quite heavy satchel. Considerable time was wasted wondering what was in those sacks, but no, and at the last fugitive foot hit the bus steps, the bus lurched into motion. Obviously, the waiting driver had planned a quick getaway.
Philippe, we're loaded. Let's roll. Do you have the map I gave you?
Michael looked at Suzanne while Constance talked with Philippe. Philippe had to hold the bus to the rutted, unpaved road that led from the farm on which they landed up to the highway. Michael took Suzanne in the back of the bus where the chimps were grooming. That always had a soothing effect when the pitch was keen. Philippe and I agree with Carr that she's leading us into a trap. I don't like it, but I think it's still got to be a go. It's still A-OK as long as we keep our heads.
That could be the problem.
He's right, you know. We can't get rid of her. She's still valuable to us as a hostage, and she may already be a life insurance policy for us.
I see that prison hasn't removed your sense of humor either, Michael. I was just talking with Philippe. He's cute. What did he say? I guess I should learn ASL, huh? I always think he's talking about me.
The departing dust cloud from the bus was used by the landing site survey crew of the FBI to close in on the helicopter. Luckily for Marie, the glint off the mirrored shades of the agent M. Mordaunt Lippy alerted her to start the rotors. Forgetting to duck, in their enthusiasm to be the first to grab the perps, the first 2 FBI agents received a most unforgivable haircut. The director did say heads would roll. Moments later, the chopper caught air with the 2 remaining agents, M. Mordaunt Lippy and T. Down Leary, dangling poignantly from the chopper.
Marie looked down laughing and couldn't help but think of Saigon.
Have there been any calls for me?
The smart house appliance at his apartment would have accepted any incoming calls and recorded the messages unless they were official governmental transmissions requiring a human signature.
Why are you expecting maybe happiness?
Look, I know you're late for servicing. It could be any time now. The landlord said he'd call for service 2 weeks ago. Can you try to tell me again, slowly, please, were there any calls for me?
Yeah. There was a call. Lutley wanted to keep Zuha Zapina. And let me tell you this, Mr. 1 month lease code 334257993/HP. You are hardly the first tenant he's used that one on. My memory cells had some coffee spilled during installation, and like the field engineer said, it just sort of spiced up my Ziza humor.
Does it say how they found me?
All I can tell you, and this is findable on the printout available at the rental agent's office, was that it was a federally registered call and it came from the Greater Atlanta Grand Jury. Can I turn on the screen for you? You logged in a request to be notified of all simian-related news broadcast. Log on.
Log on.
We'll leave Dr. Stevens in the show and slowly check on the UN's field agent.
Have you tested the link to Constance yet? You'll need to tomorrow so we can send the rendezvous information once they liberate that zoo. The chopper will develop engine trouble if things go as we planned.
Are we sure that the transportation they'll be meeting is adequate?
The master singer has assured us that the plan will succeed. They have sung on it.
I'll be leaving early this morning. I drone scoped the entire zoo, and so I know the field of action. I'll have a great view from the landing site to the cage raid. It'll be covered. Our drones are all in one place. Our jamming will cover the area perfectly, and the drone will help me monitor it during the whole raid. Constance has timed it out at no more than 20 minutes portal to liftoff. I'll still be able to pass our updated information to Constance with plenty of time to spare.
I know you will be there in plenty of time. Just be careful. You know how trigger-happy those FBIs are. Protect yourself, dear man.
The view wall scene of Niagara Falls paled, and the evening news show replaced it and encompassed the entire wall. Dr. Stevens ordered a choline and coffee from the Smart House concierge function, while the weathered face of veteran newscaster Ben Timms from room to room as it followed Dr. Stevens into the sleeping chamber as he prepared to shout.
73 degrees, please.
Okay. Sorry. Got to get those sensors recalibrated.
Early today, the finishing touches were completed on the new primate habitat at the city zoo. The director, Will Gage, has explained that no expense has been spared to completely mimic the great ape's natural environs. Years of study have paid off.
To what length have you gone to ensure the chimp's happiness?
In addition to recreating the normal environment of these beasts in a space not much larger than the average living room, we have provided the chimps with lots of hormonal enhancements to encourage constructive behavioral routines. We've totally eliminated the problem of chimps failing to conceive in captivity by twice yearly tapping of samples of every ape's germ material. Germ material? Are these apes sick? Are they in any way infectious? Should we be worried, Dr. Gage? No, you misunderstand. I refer to germ material. In this context, I'm referring, you see, to reproductive cells, eggs, and sperm in this case, since, of course, the great apes are mammals. So, we're not gonna back here covering an epidemic then? You sure? No, just ordinary egg or sperm. This relieves the apes of responsibility for maintaining parental parameters. Why, we've even got them a color TV. Oddly enough, they do still seem to have trouble sleeping, even when supplied by high-quality mood modifiers. This provides them an outlet for... Is it true, sir? It's been reported in some areas that there have been threats on the apes' lives if they're moved to a new facility. While there was a measure of concern expressed by some very highly placed security sources who suggested that there could be an attempt to lure the chimps away, why, wild horses could not drag our apes away, especially from their new designer dorms. Do you have some sort of surprise in mind for our viewers, Dr. Cage? What do you ask? Just the unveiling.
Turn the water off, I'm done.
Look out, Mr. Cage! A large yellow school bus came lurching around the Lippo pit. The flamingos leapt skyward as if on cue, painting the sky pink with wings. The startled camera operator bobbled his Steadicam, and the bus lurched to a stop just in front of the New Age monkey habitat. Rope ladders flung down into the orangutan pit. 2 men with longish hair leapt from the bus to the gate of the new chimp house, bolt cutters in hand. The camera operator pans the area, catching many scurrying zoo personnel. Some, it seems, are carrying long rifles. The camera swirls again, and to rest on the now opening cage door. The director in Studio A refuses to relay the continuing footage of surprise, and he returns to the screen with the shocked face of Ben Timms. Ben cannot seem to take his eyes from the horror on the monitor beside him. The apes! The apes! The bus!
You're the director of this zoo. You try it on for size. All the comforts of home, we?
Philippe slams the door on Cage as the two step back aboard the bus.
Yes, Mr. Secretary, it's gone quite well here, according to plan.
Well, it was the plan of the master singer. I've never seen his plans go any other way.
So the apes come up with this plan on their own, sir. It was certainly serendipitous, and it worked out well for the whales then, didn't it? Sort of a monkey's paw then, huh, sir?
Great apes, dear sir, please. It was exactly what the whales predicted.
We'll see if they're right about the next part.
A very surprised head of cabbage rolled across the cage door from the newly liberated ape pit. It was as surprised as we are.
Station identification.